We have a product in our portfolio called Katinga. Katinga was a company we acquired about 18 months ago that does natural language processing and sentiment analysis of unstructured data. So it can bring in things like Twitter statements and identify, is the statement positive or negative, and is it trending one way or the other? We also have natural language processing, so we can identify within a written document the names of people, places, organizations, the relationships between them. Good product, we sell a lot in the federal space, a lot in the healthcare space. In the open source community, the Python community has developed quite a bit of sophisticated technology around natural language processing. There's a lot of good tools in the Python community for that. Google has recently launched some tools for doing this as well as part of their Google Cloud environment. So there's a lot of good tools that are starting to come up in this natural language processing and unstructured space. Yes?
So what is the accuracy rate in the big data? Because I feel that also accuracy is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can elaborate on that.
Absolutely. So accuracy, it varies quite heavily based on the market. And the way we deal with that varies again by the market. So take the example of University of Kentucky and the student retention. The accuracy there is actually pretty good because we've trained the algorithms over time. But if it was bad, it wouldn't matter because there's no negative outcome. A guidance counselor calling a student and saying, hey, how are things going? Do you want to have coffee? There's no negative outcome there. Even if the student's not looking at leaving, it just shows them they're more connected. So there's no negative outcome. Target, on the other hand, when they misidentified an individual and alerted to their parents, that's a huge negative outcome. So we want to make sure that any false positives there we get rid of very, very quickly. So we always start with what's the impact, what happens if we have a false positive, and then decide how long are we going to spend training the algorithms, how much human interaction are we going to have. We have certain processes inside Dell around security alerting, security automation, where if a false positive was to make it to an individual, they would feel accused of something they didn't do. So there's a human step involved to always review all the evidence before anything happens. So there's those sorts of things that become critical to the process of how we execute. Not everything needs to be automated and people told right away. So. Additional questions?
But sometimes someone talk about accuracy and prediction and the pattern trend. Sometimes we think about the small data better than big data.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of very, very small amounts of information that you can garner what people are thinking, what people are doing, and infer from that. We don't always need a massive data set that goes back 12 years. A lot of times we can do it with much, much smaller subsets. Particularly when it comes to human behavior information, looking at your buying trend over 5 years really isn't any more meaningful than your last 6 months because we change our habits. We are creatures of habit, but we change them every 6 months. You go to a different Starbucks, you got a different car. My travel schedule changes based on kind of 4 to 5 month windows. So those sorts of things. We can look at much smaller trends for the pattern and frankly be more accurate.
Do you, excluding federal health care, I mean like in a normal, typical business, whatever that is, are you normally selling it to marketing people, and is the marketing department hiring masters of science marketing people to crunch the data? I mean, is it weighted more heavily towards a particular department, typically, like maybe more so marketing than the logistics, or?
It tends to be. So we're seeing another dramatic shift in IT. So 20 years ago, IT was very department-based. An individual unit within a company would deploy their own servers, their own collaboration, their own email. That then consolidated. Late 90s, early 2000s, companies went to kind of giant monolithic IT departments with an iron fist, and everything that smelled of IT had to go through this department. That's now changing again. Cloud computing has come in, and suddenly any individual and organization can go give their credit card, buy a third-party service, and do something for their organization. So we're seeing the control of those dollars shift back into the individual businesses. The organizations that tend to be running the fastest and doing the best in the big data markets are, like you said, they're a marketing organization that goes out and hires their own team of data scientists, computational mathematics guys to do analytics just for their department, because it's so specific to the domain they're working in. Taking someone who's doing analysis for the manufacturing team is going to have a learning curve before they come back over to the marketing department. So they're not going to be as effective. They're capable, just not as effective. So the purchase of the software, the services, and the hiring of the individuals tends to roll up under that business unit. Additional questions?
Any other? Gotcha.
Excellent.
Great,
Well,
thank you.
much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, we got about 10 more minutes break and then come back.